Welcome to Learning. My name is Dr. Ben. Today, we're going to learn some awesome stuff. Learning is for everyone. Let's make it fun and enjoyable. Sit back and listen to the facilitator as we dive into our topic for today. Enjoy.
Hello, I am Bella. Welcome to a discussion about the United States government and its democracy. In this lesson, we will take a look at the foundations of government, its purpose and origins. Foundations of government, purposes and origins of government, learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe what is a government, discuss the functions of government, discuss the differences between a nation and a state or country, discuss the creation of governments. Before we get into our lesson, think on this question. What are the behaviors of people absent a government? Take a moment and think on this. Philosophers call this the state of nature. According to the Seven Pillars Institute and Britannica, the state of nature refers to how human beings behave in the absence of a civil society. In other words, the state of nature describes how people interacted prior to the establishment of any government, political association, or other social institutions. As an example of the state of nature, in a New York Times op-ed, Christopher Wolfe, leader of the Internet Task Force of the Anti-Defamation League, stated, "People who are able to post anonymously or pseudonymously are far more likely to say awful things, sometimes with awful consequences, such as the suicides of cyberbullied young people." Wolfe went on to say that the abuse extends to hate-filled and inflammatory comments appended to the online versions of newspaper articles, comments that hijack legitimate discussions of current events and discourage people from participating. Think about the state of nature as we discuss our next topic. Ask yourself this question before we move into the lesson. Do you believe that humans in a state of nature would show the worst aspects of their nature? Or do you see a more positive vision of the state of nature? How might your view of the state of nature influence your ideas about government? Pause the video and reflect on this. What is government, and what are its basic functions? Most individuals cannot function and would not choose to live in chaos and turmoil, where mobs rule the land through might and violence. These conditions describe anarchy, or a state without government and laws. Legitimate and functioning governments create order, protect people, and give them ways to settle disagreements fairly and peacefully. Government is an institution through which leaders exercise power to make and enforce laws affecting the people under its control. People create governments. Governments provide leadership, order, security and defense, public services, and economic assistance and economic security. Government officials set priorities and make all types of decisions on behalf of the people. They decide what actions are crimes, make decisions about who has to pay taxes and how much they have to pay, and determine who benefits from natural resources such as coal and natural gas. Without leadership, no one and anyone can be in charge, thus creating anarchy. In almost any group, people will disagree and some may take advantage of others. Two neighbors may argue about property lines, or parents may argue over a Little League baseball game with a referee. Conflict is an inescapable part of life. Governments try to control and contain conflict between people by placing limits on what individuals are permitted to do. Governments provide a domestic security force, police or National Guard, to enforce laws and to keep peace. Governments provide courts and other ways for people to resolve their conflicts. They also punish people who break laws. Without government, civilized life would be impossible. An effective government allows citizens to plan for the future, get an education, raise a family, and live orderly lives. Abraham Lincoln is quoted as saying, "The legitimate object of government is to do for a community of people whatever they need to have done but cannot do at all, or cannot so well do for themselves in their separate and individual capacities." but in all that people can individually do for themselves, government ought not to interfere. Governments create schools, build sewer systems, pave roads, and provide other services that individuals cannot or would not do on their own. Many other government services promote public health and safety. For example, most fire departments are funded by governments. In the U.S., government officials enforce housing codes and inspect meat that is sold in markets. Another task of government is to protect the people against attack by another country or by terrorists. In today's world of nuclear weapons, spy satellites, international terrorists, and huge armies, it is a complex and demanding task to provide for the safety of a nation's citizens. The U.S. federal government is primarily responsible for this task. Governments protect the economic security of their people, just like they protect national security. Governments negotiate trade deals with other countries to protect businesses that are important to their own economies. Governments might intervene in the economic affairs of another nation to promote their own national security. For example, after World War II, the U.S. funded the Marshall Plan to help European nations rebuild their economies because of a concern that high unemployment, food shortages, and economic depression could lead to communist revolutions. Within their own countries, governments can also set policies to protect people's economic security. Governments usually try to stimulate economic growth and stability by encouraging trade and regulating the development of natural resources. In the U.S., many people lack enough food, clothing, and housing. Governments provide assistance to those in need in the form of food stamps or rent control. Governments vary in what they can provide. No country provides its citizens with everything they desire. The terms nation, country, and state are sometimes used interchangeably. Theoretically, a nation is a sizable group of people who believe themselves united by common bonds of race, language, custom, or religion. Many in the U.S. think about a state as a subdivision of a whole country. A state is a political community that occupies a definite territory and has an organized government. Furthermore, the term country has the same meaning. A state has sovereignty, that is, its government makes and enforces its own laws without approval from any other authority. Question to ask ourselves: why and how were governments created? No one actually knows precisely how or why people created the earliest governments, but scholars have constructed several theories to explain their origins. The evolutionary theory in terms of government suggests that the state evolved gradually from the family. The heads of ancient families serve as the authority over the group, and extended families might include hundreds of people. The force theory suggests that governments originated when individuals in an area were brought under authority or placed into submission by a person or a group. The divine right theory postulates that people of authority were chosen by a god or gods to rule the land. This theory refers to the European monarchs in the 1600s and 1700s who claimed their rule came from God and God alone. The social contract theory argues that states exist to protect and to serve their people. Without a state or government, people would live in a state of chaos and uncertainty. Knowledge check. Pause the video and answer the knowledge check review questions. Return to the lesson when you have completed answering the questions. First, what is government? Second, what are the basic functions of a government? Third, what is the difference between a nation and a state or country? Fourth, why and how were governments created? Fifth, discuss Abraham Lincoln's belief regarding a government. This is the end of Lesson 1, Foundations of Government, Purposes and Origins of Government. I hope you have gained knowledge from this topic. Be on the lookout for Lesson 2, Types of Governments. Take care.